All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Nerd Enthusiast Poker Podcast. First, make sure you check out our sponsors, theslotsquad.com. They are the #1 legal stream team in the United States. They have all the exclusive sign-up bonuses for all the legal casinos. You go to the site, theslotsquad.com. You can see all the streamers that are on there. You can see all the sign-up bonuses for all the different states. Get some free money. Go there, check them out, theslotsquad.com. They help support our channel, and so we appreciate them, and we would like you to go check them out. WSOP COVID policy just dropped, then it re-dropped, and so if you're out of the loop and you're not up to date, we'll kind of bring you up to speed with what we know is going on. And if it changes again, we'll do another update on our next episode. So, Brian, you want to explain what the heck's going on, because it's absolutely like
all right, it's a little lengthy, and I actually have it in my notes because there's like a timeline of events that, I mean, we were tracking pretty exclusively just because, you know, one, we were waiting for the schedule to drop, and then the schedule drops, and it was like Christmas. We're like, yes, finally, we're having it. The unknown of whether there's going to be a series or not. Now we know. So then the next big question was, what kind of restrictions are they going to have in relation to COVID? So going back to like the beginning of August, what I have here is Kevin Mathers. I don't know if you follow him. We've talked about him on previous pods. He's like the dude when it comes to like poker information, poker intel. He posts a pretty controversial tweet about this COVID-19 rule that was implemented into the WSOP rules this year. And it was Rule 115. And pretty much what it was saying is, and I'll read it because I have it up. If participant is determined by the Rio in its sole discretion to have received a positive test result for COVID-19 or come into close proximity within 6 feet or 15 cumulative minutes of any person having tested positive for COVID-19, they could be removed from a WSOP event. And that pretty much set off a bombshell.
Dude, Twitter was like, the next day was like, I was like, oh, here we go.
So a lot of people were like, that's crazy. Like, what if I'm vaccinated? Like, that's not fair. You know, if I come in contact with someone who happens to test positive, you know, and I'm vaccinated, how can I get, eliminated? And then the whole thing is like, look, we're sitting at at what would be probably a regulation poker table right now. I'm within 6 feet of Matt. I'm within 6 feet of Anthony. Like, those rules, well, that rule at the time was extremely controversial. But then a couple days later, because of the outcry, WSOP issues a statement pretty much saying like, look, here's the clarification. Our rule was incorrect or whatever the case may be. And they go on to say, and I'll read it. Consistent with current CDC guidelines, WSOP participants who are known to have been exposed to a person who has tested positive for COVID-19 will not be required to leave the tournament in quarantine if they're fully vaccinated within the appropriate timing parameters and remain asymptomatic since the time of exposure. So that comes out and everyone's like, yippee! Like, now everyone feels a little bit more at ease. Everyone's not as up in an uproar.
Yeah. I listen, I literally love when something drops on Twitter, because I'm like, the meme where like the dude's eating popcorn? That's like me. I'm like, here we go.
Well, listen,
here we go.
I mean,
Twitter's gonna blow up.
And I follow a fair number of professional poker players, like I would say, that are in the limelight in the poker world. And the one that kind of stands out to me is Matt Glantz. Like, he is very opinionated, and he honestly reminds me of that kid in high school who, like, he would get two people to fight and would like step back and like just watch the trouble ensue. And like, honestly, like,
and he was like the popular kid that didn't get in trouble, but like he always started the crap.
Exactly.
That's Matt Glantz.
He's the guy who like, he's like, yo, Matt, I heard Anthony wants to fight you. And then he goes, yo, Anthony, I heard Matt wants to fight you. And then next thing you know, Matt and Anthony are fighting, and Matt's sitting back like, whoa, do your thing. Yeah. And it's crazy because everyone that follows him buys like gets caught up in it, and I know he's sitting back like cracking up like,
yeah, like his stuff's
again.
like
Mission
definitely
accomplished.
Yeah.
So I wanted to read one of his tweets that came out kind of early. So now listen, he said this back like well before any of this stuff started happening. His tweet was, the WSOP needs to have a strict proof of vax to register for any event. It's everyone's own personal choice to get vaccinated or not. But I don't know any players who want to be sitting in a room all day and night with hundreds of people who are not vaxxed. Seems like a no-brainer. So obviously everyone's kind of commenting on this. And this is before all this stuff even blows up, right? So 2 weeks later, after the clarification of the rule, WSOP announced, what? All participants will be required to have a vaccine and will be expected to wear a mask throughout the tournament. So it goes from you're going to get kicked out if you have close proximity to someone who tests positive to no, we're not going to kick anyone out as long as you're vaxxed. Now, in order to play in the WSOP, to be in an event, you need to show proof of vaccination.
And so just to clarify too, just people know at home, you have to use the Clear mobile app. I know you downloaded it. Was it very hard to do, or is it simple?
Very simple. Took 3 minutes.
So Clear's the company. If you've ever been to the airport, they have those like Clears. It's a growing company. They actually just went public on NASDAQ or whatever. So it might be a good investment down the road. But anyway, they have an app. You put your health pass feature on there, and you upload your proof of vaccination. I haven't done it yet. Matt was telling me about it. He said it's pretty easy. He's done it. So that is the way, as of right now, you have to upload the vaccination. Now, WSOP has a list of all the acceptable vaccinations. Like, you can't just make up a vaccination or like some thing you cooked up in your basement. Like, yeah, this is my vaccination. That's what it is.
Yeah, so I'm on the website right now, and it pretty much has, like you said, like an FAQ, basically saying, like, look, frequently asked questions. Here it is. Any questions you might have, they have the answer. But, again, there's some things that are left, I don't want to say unanswered, but to some extent there are. Because, again, they were accepting online registration for events. Now is that null and void because you now need to register in person and show proof of vaccination at the time to register? So I don't know if they're going to kind of suspend that end of things. Or
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think what they're going to do is if you do a live registration, right, you're going to have to show it at the live registration. And your card will get like a stamp of approval or something like that. And so when you go to the dealer. If you did it online, you got a printout from one of those things. I think when you go see the dealer, I think they're going to say, I need to see your Clear, and you're going to have to show them.
Yes.
That's my speculation. You're going to have to show them your Clear thing on your phone, and then they'll stamp the card.
So they actually have it. They have it on the website. It just says, like, you'll have to show, it says, players simply need to show their Clear health pass or alternate vaccination record prior to the first registration in any 2021 WSOP tournament, side event, blah, 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 blah. From that point forward, verification status will be noted within the WSOP registration system, then there you go. But again, you will be required to wear a mask. That's one question that was asked. Spectators. So they say a limited number of spectators may be allowed in with proof of full vaccination. And just remember that at any point in time, they can ask you to leave if you are not compliant with what they're saying.
I can't wait for that first video to drop in October of the dude that's being like handcuffed and like carried out of the Rio. Like, it's gonna. I can't wait. It's coming.
I got a 99 fever. they're carrying them out.
Again,
are they taking temperatures too?
Yeah, well, it's saying here, it doesn't say that they will be taking temperatures, but they're saying that if you have a fever of 100.4 or higher, you shouldn't come, you shouldn't play.
Well, you got a fever of 104. I mean, you ain't getting out of bed.
Yeah, you ain't making it, dude. 104 is brutal.
It's like hospital.
That's bad.
So we're recording this in the beginning of September, the first week of September. So just moving on with this timeline. As of last week, the 30th, Chad Holloway writes for Poker News. Everyone kind of knows who he is. He actually reached out to the WSOP and asked a series of questions that I thought were pretty intelligent questions.
I feel like Chad's been like more and more ballsy lately, dude. Like, I love his content. Like, he's been very ballsy. Like, you know, I know a lot of us are like, myself included, we're very like, you know, we toe the line because we do promotions for these sites and things. But dude, he's been very ballsy and getting it out there, and I like it.
This has become the new controversy, and there hasn't been any clarification. So one of the questions that he asked was if dealers and staff would be required to be vaccinated in addition to the players playing in the tournament, which is a fair question, right? So the answer that Caesars Entertainment gave was
it Caesars Entertainment or was it WSOP? What does it say?
Well, it says, as with all Caesars Entertainment team members, WSOP team members are strongly encouraged to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Caesars is committed to making vaccination easy and accessible for all team members. Additionally, the company is providing significant incentives for team members who choose to be vaccinated. So that's not an answer to the question that he posed. It's kind of like, I mean, you read between the lines. It doesn't seem that they're going to be requiring all the dealers to be vaccinated. And that, I mean, that whole thing pretty much, it was like the fire was kind of smoldering a little bit. And then
Chad Holloway was like, wait a second.
They just took, like, seriously, like a whole bucket of gas and just poured it on it because, again, Twitter just blew up. Alex Foxen, he's engaged to Christy Bicknell. I mean, they were like, I'm boycotting it this year.
You know what's crazy too is like Alex has a lot on the line because he's actually he's like one of the top players of the year right now. He's like third or second. I don't know as of listening to this, but he's way up there. So him not going, actually, I mean, I guess he doesn't care, but it really blows his shot probably taking the player of the year award.
I mean, he put
he's all about
he put
it.
a lengthy thread post that, like, if you read it, you're like, damn, you know where this guy stands.
Well, listen, but one of the things he did say, which I did agree with, is there should be something, and I think actually Matt Glantz was saying this, a couple other people were saying it as well. There should be something like if you had COVID, let's say, and you have the antibodies, that should be something that you could bring as well. And right now they're not showing that. Like if you go to a doctor and you get a blood drawn and show, like, I had the antibodies, you know. As of right now, I don't think WSOP has anything in writing that says that will also be suffice.
That's one of the questions that Chad Holloway posed,
and they didn't answer.
And they didn't answer it. Other things were what happens if a player is caught trying to pass off like a forged vaccination document. And then the one thing that I thought was like interesting was while this whole thing's playing out, the Nevada governor pretty much comes out and is like, listen, if a venue, a large event venue is having something like a large event on over 4,000 people, as long as everyone in attendance is vaccinated, you don't have to wear masks. So that was a question posed, like, look, if you're requiring everyone to be vaccinated, why would they have to wear masks if they're providing proof based off of what the governor of Nevada is saying? But again, there hasn't been any response or any comment.
Because with the dealers not being vaccinated,
well, that's
then
the thing.
you got to have the mask.
I know.
But I was looking forward to going out there and playing with no mask. Everyone in the room's vaccinated, and that's just not going to be the case.
I mean, it's unfortunate because, look, they put this thing out there just about, I want to say, the math was like 30-some days, 32, 33 days before the start of the WSOP. If you didn't get a shot at all and you plan on going out there for the first week or two of events, you're beat because it takes at least 6 weeks to get vaccinated. So now the people who had planned to go out there that might not have been vaccinated either have to, change their trip or just cancel it altogether because they're going to go out there and they're going to be SOL because.
So here's the other thing too. We posted on uspoker.com. It has to be 14 days prior as well. Not only do you have to have it by then, you have to have it for 2 weeks before. So if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my shot next week and fly out to Vegas, that's not gonna work either. You need to have it's got to be on your card 14 days. So if you're just listening to this and you plan on going to WSOP and you're planning on getting the vaccination, you need to get the final dose. So if you're getting those 2 doses like Moderna or Pfizer, the other one. They're like 3 weeks apart from each other, I think.
Yeah,
right.
Have to wait, 3 weeks.
I had to wait 3 weeks. So you're talking 14 days after that 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So literally 5 weeks.
5 weeks. Yep.
So you're pretty much screwed. I mean, if you did it now, you could probably play in like almost the main event, like November.
So now, if you aren't vaccinated, you're not necessarily screwed altogether because there's a bunch of other casinos in Vegas that plan on running tournament series in conjunction with the WSOP, and they've been running tournaments without vaccination requirements. Like, yes, you're still having to wear masks according to CDC guidelines and what's going on in Nevada. So don't just rush to cancel your trip because you can't play the series. Like, I know the Wynn just announced. I'm sure the Venetian's going to have something. We said the South Point. And
so we just posted on uspoker.com, and I'm going to throw another shout to US Poker. We just posted on there a Vegas series, and we're going to keep updating it. So if you go there, it's like the top article on uspoker.com. It has all this. So we got Venetian, we got the Wynn, you got Golden Nugget. They've all announced their side events. Now, I think Orleans and South Winds are still going to put something out. So by the time you actually hear this, they might actually be out by then, and we will update it on there. But there's a lot of great other events that you can play in. So if you do have a trip booked, like Brian was saying, doesn't necessarily mean you have to cancel because you're just going to have to reorganize where you're going.
Just go somewhere else. And honestly, like, look, from the vibe that I got from the Twitterverse, and that's the only social media that I'm a part of, it seemed like feelings were mixed. Like, it wasn't like more people were in favor of vaccination. There was like a lot of people, like some extremists, like, oh, this is fascism, like going like totally, far right or whatever you want to consider. But at the same time, like, I feel like these other events might have a comparable number of attendees
definitely.
playing
Yeah.
at the same time. Like, the people who don't want to get vaccinated or just don't like the WSOP brand anymore, they're going to decide to play, the 1100 over there or the 1600 over there. And who knows, their prize pool might be even bigger than what that WSOP draw is.
And to be honest, that's going to be the field with the softer players, because every good poker player is getting vaccinated to go play the WSOP. You go to sit at the WSOP, it's going to be all really good poker players. You're going to sit at the table. It's going to be hard to find an edge. But you go to the other games with unvaccinated players who are recreational, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so what are you saying, Matt?
think
That unvaccinated people are less intelligent and less.
Here we go.
No, what I'm saying is
we're
a lot of
Sweden
the
here.
No, I'm saying everyone that, like, all of the, like, professional poker players are getting vaccinated so they can partake in the WSOP, whereas a lot of the amateur and recreational players who could care less, that's like, they're more on the fence about the vaccine.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Because they're not, they're not going to rush out to get a vaccine because they have to go play the WSOP, where all the pros and all the regulars are going to be getting it just to be in a WSOP. So, yeah, some of those other casinos, you can see, some of the softer fields.
That's a good point. Well, that's where the saga pretty much ends at this point. I mean, we're still going.